probably one of the deepest conversation I had with a client in this pod that I'm in now. And it was the biggest variation that I ever had to bring it forward to that client. But I was very transparent. I had all of the quotes out here from all subcontractors. I showed them all the costing what was coming up to this project. And I did tell them, I said, if this was any other builder that was in here, you'd be probably not add another 20, 30% on top of these quotes, because probably some of the builders want to make some cream from this. Pick your builder and make sure you just enjoy the process. If you're not enjoying it, look for another builder, because like Dean said there, it's a big relationship. And you don't also want to go for the cheapest builder out there. If you want to give this a crack yourself, like all off, like give it a good go, but it'll just take twice as long and it'll just go over budget, because yeah, you haven't got the connections like we have today.
Thinking about building or renovating? Or maybe you are already knee-deep in a project now. Are you feeling unsure of which steps to take and if you are making the right calls? You're not alone. Welcome to Builders Beyond Borders, the podcast where experienced Aussie builders share real stories, insider tips, and practical advice so you can build with confidence, avoid costly mistakes, and actually enjoy the journey. Let's dive in.
Hello, hello, hello. I feel like Chris and Murray from the old shows from many years ago, but welcome to another episode of the Builders Beyond Borders podcast, where we're here to have a chat with homeowners and, well, amongst ourselves for homeowners in regards to what's going on out there in the building industry and how we can, as builders, being able to provide information, assist homeowners to be able to sort of get the best out of their projects. And today, you've got myself, Hugh from New Realm Homes in Melbourne, Andy from Perway Construction over there in Perth in the western side of Australia, and Dean is right down south from DJH Builders in another Perth, but not the Perth from WA, the Perth in Launceston. Is it Launceston or is it just out of Launceston in Tasmania?
Yeah.
That's brilliant. Good to see you guys. And yeah, today the topic of, well, I guess you could say everybody's day, but from a builder's perspective, the phone calls that we don't want to make, or that we're not prepared to make, or sometimes the ones that we're afraid to have because there could be something really negative that can come out of it. But boys, we're talking about some pretty tough stuff. We've had some discussions about mental health and all that sort of thing over the last little while. This goes out into that space and it really plays on everyone's mind. I mean, we're making phone calls at a rate that we can't even keep up with each day. And it could be with one client, two clients, 15 clients or potential clients. And then we've got all the clients that we're dealing with on site and then the trades and everybody else and subbies and suppliers. And there are phone calls that we don't want to be making, but we have to make them because there's going to be a hard conversation, but we can't shy away from it because they need to happen. When it comes to it, the stories that we can have and the pitfalls of these phone calls, but also the positives out of actually having them. How do you guys feel about these hard conversations and where they sort of play out?
I think in the past, when there has been an issue arise, I think a lot of times subcontractors and things I don't have too many concerns with. For if there is an issue arise there, I'm pretty happy to jump on the blower and have those chats. I think it's the clientele. I think it's something that I in the past used to shy away from and probably just go, I'll get to that. I'll get to that, but that has since I realised is not the right way to do things. 90% of the time when you do have those tough conversations, and it may be something that I've done, I've stuffed up, and you just have to own up to that and say, hey, look, this hasn't gone right. I have missed something off here, or we've had a bit of an issue on site. It's just getting that phone call done ASAP, ripping the Band-Aid off. And like I said, 90% of the time, the clients are, that is a bit of an issue, but I'm glad you've let me know now, or that's not a problem at all. We can sort this stuff out. So that's been my experience with it. Just ripping the Band-Aid off, honestly, getting that done.
I agree. exactly what you said there, Dean. I have to give a shout out to my wife today, guys. We're 10 years married today. So I'm on this podcast. So,
Congratulations.
my wife said we're supposed to go for lunch today. And I said, I have the podcast, so we can't cancel the podcast. So shout out to the wifey in the background. Exactly what you said there, Dean, is it reminds you going back to school. I'm going back to school days. I never want to get told off. I didn't want to get in trouble. And then when you did, you felt this anxiety in the stomach. And even when you work for your first boss, you never want to get in trouble. And it's exactly the same process when when this comes up for clients. The anxiety that went through my body at the early stages of my building career, when something come up, I was scared to maybe bring it up because I didn't want to piss off the client.
Mm.
I didn't want to bring up a variation. I took a lot of hits in my company as variations. I just didn't charge the client because I didn't want to annoy them. And do you know who was losing out there? Myself, my family, my family's dreams, my family's holidays, because I sacrificed that. Maybe when you're starting out, you didn't want to bring up them issues because you want to keep the job going to schedule. That was the old Andy. Right now, the new Andy brings it to the table, and very fresh right now. We have a client that we're doing a job for. Unfortunately, a few issues came up unforeseen on the project. The job had to be a standstill for the last 3 to 4 months, and these are deep conversations. Probably one of the deepest conversation I had with a client in this pod that I'm in now, and it was the biggest variation that I ever had to bring it forward to that client. But I was very transparent. I had all of the quotes out here from all subcontractors. I showed them all the costing what was coming up for this project. And I did tell them, I said, if this was any other builder that was in here, you'd be probably not add another 20, 30% on top of these quotes because probably some other builders want to make some cream from this.
Mm.
And at the end of the day, our job as builders is to provide the best service and give them the best outcome in the build that they deserve. And I believe we're all doing that here. I really do believe that. And through where we've come from and the coaching, thanks to Mick and who we are, that we are stepping up, like Dean says, making the band call that call as quickly as possible and getting in front of them and saying, hey, this is the issue. We can either do this or do that. And I find, like Dean just mentioned, like most of the clients love it then at the end, going, okay, it is what it is. This is the unforeseen stuff that does come up. And then we just keep on moving. We tell the clients, let's go, let's get back on track. Let's keep the schedule, let's get it back, So yeah, the front end of the days, men, I don't know about you, is yeah, I probably lost sleep at the front end of the business in this process. And the more I learn about it now, I don't take much to heart. Honestly, once all my trades and my subbies come home every night safe, that is the first priority, obviously. And obviously, a builder wants to make profit on a project. That's what we deserve because we put in this heartache and our time and our effort. So yeah, uh, looking back to now, it's the gap in the gain, how far we all come. You bags, like that's you. We're like, what about you? Because you live in a big city. I hats off to you, man. Because I was in Sydney there last week. I was like, I could not be a builder in this city because trying to manage in this big environment is full on. Like, tell us a bit about your stories back in Melbourne. Like, tell us about you.
Oh, look, when it comes to Melbourne, Melbourne is it's a force unto itself, just like Sydney is, and like I've lived in Sydney. I lived in Sydney when I was a teenager. Went to school there, and Sydney is it's a whole other animal on top with personalities and the way people live their lives. And originally, I grew up in Newcastle, very probably smaller than Perth, and probably similar sort of size to probably I'd say either Hobart or Launceston. Where when it comes to going from that to Melbourne, and then Sydney, and then back to Melbourne, and jumping around in that sort of sense, like it's where when it comes to it, obviously there's certain things that you sort of experience, and I guess you could say it even leads to some trauma responses when it comes to how you deal with people. And in a few ways, I mean, some of the stories that have come from some of that trauma responses, trauma reactions to, like you mentioned, the not taking phone calls or not wanting to sort of have that conversation with a client or even friends and family and all that sort of thing as well, because you get the anxiety, and that is one of those things. Everybody experiences it, and sometimes we've got to take that step back and go, hey, well, if we're getting the anxiety, what's it like for everybody else on having that conversation? Now, mind you, if we're calling up about a problem, an issue, or not necessarily something great happening, well, what kind of anxiety or trauma response can you actually get from somebody on the other end of the phone?
Mm.
It's a two-way street, and so there is always going to be that level of anxiety that comes from it, and like you said, Andy, like our number one sort of the number one thing that we're sort of concerned about is everybody's getting home okay each day, and the safety aspect, and it doesn't just stop with the physical stuff; it's the mental stuff as well, and
Mm.
yeah, the hard conversations. Well, let's just say, like what you sort of discussed about not having those conversations early on in your business. Um, if we've seen what happens in other relationships when one little thing doesn't get talked about, doesn't get spoken about at all, and then you get another small little thing, and you end up essentially piling all these things on top of each other, and they're not spoken about. Somebody's anxiety level's really high, and then the person who's on the other side of the equation, who probably needs to have the conversation had with them, they come back and they start saying, "Oh, well, we've got one little problem," and they're the ones that sort of jump in to say, "Well, we need to have that hard conversation first." And then you got one problem over one side, but then you got 30 on the
Mm.
other side. What's going to happen? It's the world's going to implode, and somebody's going to end up being shot or something. I don't know, but someone's going to lose their mind. And it's not a healthy situation. So yeah, these conversations, no matter how small it is, the quicker they're actually knocked on the head, the better it's going to be.
Mm.
Mhm.
And is it a case of showing a level of trust, and the quality of the relationship that you're actually having with all these people as well? It shows the quality of that relationship that you can basically weather whatever's going on, and it's not going to be an issue.
Mm.
So yeah, to me, yeah, the hard conversations, the sooner they're had, um, the better things are going to be, and everybody's going to get a better result.
Yeah, and same with that, you like, the clients and the builders have to connect. Like, if you haven't got that connection, I'm big on this now. I'm saying no a lot in my future. People come into our field, and I'm really making that decision early. Like, if we're not the right fit at the front end, like, we're not going to take on the job, because it's like a marriage for at least 1 to 2 years with a builder.
Yep.
And like, if you're not, if it's not the right fit at the front end, like, either the builder pull out or the client go, "Do you know what, it's not working out," you know? So, yeah, and I'm
Done. It's done. Like,
yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
once that's broken down.
Mm, you know?
What kind of
And
therapist is out there for mending a builder-client relationship, eh? Because once it goes pear-shaped, I mean, it's a rocky slide. Sorry, steep slope, rocky road, and all that sort of thing to go down, and coming back from something being really terrible. That's an even harder conversation than just getting on the phone and saying, "Oh, we've got a problem."
Mm.
yeah, yeah. I think I'm very lucky, man. The work that I've done the last few years on myself and outside of this company. I was on a site there a few weeks back, and I seen one of the husbands there, and I said, I just checked in. I said, "Are you okay? Is there something? Is everything all right? Because you're not the same person I seen there a few weeks back." And then, well, he just blunted it all out in front of me, and I
Mm.
said, "Oh, that's what's happening. There you go. Because you're not the same person right now, and it was got to do with work and issues and stress." And I was like, "Thank you for sharing that. It was just lovely." Then he's like, "Andy, thanks for just letting me have that conversation with you." I was like, "Well, I'm not just a builder now. I'm actually listening and seeing if I can check in to see her all right." And
Mm.
he actually needed that vent, you know. So it was nice. So we're not just builders, man. We are also counselors underneath it all.
So I was just about to say that. How much are we actually playing therapist
Yeah.
as builders? how many times are we needing to be a psychologist
Mhm.
and we're watching not just one
Mm.
person, but we've got a whole team, a whole band of people sitting there playing their different tunes,
Mm.
and we're having to actually understand that, because all of this that's going on across all these people playing the different instruments, where are we at? Because
Mm.
you got one guy that's trying to play a trumpet, one guy that's trying to play a trombone, or
Mm.
play a guitar, or play a piano over here, and well, what's going on? We've just got so many different things that we've got to understand, because
Yep.
every single one of it affects the music at the end.
Mm.
Yep.
And it's like, are we a composer in essence, or are we that therapist that is constantly sitting around going, this person's got this problem going on over here. Do I need to sit down with them for half an hour to just
Mm.
work out what's going on? And
Yeah.
I know that when it comes to employees and guys doing work for us, like, they've all got something going on in the background, whether one guy's got a marriage breakdown, or another guy's just broken up with his girlfriend, and
Yeah.
another one's just getting into a relationship, and he's finding it difficult because she's something's going on with her, and he doesn't know how to handle it, and another person's in money stress. All these things, and we're like, oh, this is affecting us on a daily basis.
Yeah.
What are we projecting that's either helping them or not?
Mm. I've had this conversation with a client only a couple of weeks ago. Went to go and check out their project. We were having it inspected by the master builders, and we got talking about the way that we handle clients and handle our team and things like that. And I said, we are just like a counselor a lot of the time. Um, we've got so many people to talk to and relate with between our team and our clientele. Um, I said, because you have other trades like electricians and plumbers. They're a transactional business. My hot water cylinder's buggered. I need a new one. Plumber comes in, fixes it, pays. They're gone. The light goes out, or you need a new oven fitted. They're in. You pay them. They're gone. Where us, it's like we spend 6 months, 12 months at times talking with clients to the lead up of the project. The project happens, which may only be 3, 5, 6 months, and then you're still in contact with them. Um, for bits and pieces, that they want more work doing, and then we had a client the other week, her dog suddenly passed away, so then we're, having a chat with her about that, and just making it relatable as well. And it's just like, oh god, that's just a couple of stories in the last 2 weeks, and it's an interesting thing. You hear about builders going, "Oh, he's a bit of a prick," or whatever. He's not a very good people person. I think that's what makes a big difference. Is like being a people person and being able to be upfront and relatable is
Empathy.
yeah, exactly.
Mm.
Having empathy to show is very vital, and it's crucial to a quality building business, I think.
Yeah, people are actually not buying your business, they're buying you, Dean.
Mm,
Mm.
They're buying you, the company owner, they're buying like what values align with myself and Dean. Like what did they have that I have? That's the majority of what people do. Like I tell the team, I was like, we're only good as the last job. And I said, if we don't deliver what we're trying to do, I said, the people, what Mick teaches us, you're long remembered after the experience you give the client.
mm,
And if, when something happens on site, this is where the true colors comes out with the builder. So if something's going nasty and he turns nasty in you, the builder that you have now, that's the true colors coming out. When something comes up and it's presented well and the hands around to protect you and everything, then you just go, geez, how lucky am I to have that builder in my corner?
mm,
Because some builders out here would be screaming and kicking buckets, and oh, the stories I hear, I'm like, I don't know how people, actually don't know how people sleep at night, but that goes back to that upbringing or trauma that the person has, and it's just coming out unfortunately on top of the client because there's stress involved. So yeah, it's there's probably way more conversations we could have here about this. I'm sure you have many of the stories, man, but it's a good refresher for someone listening that
mm.
pick your builder, and make sure you just enjoy the process. If you're not enjoying it, look for another builder because, like Dean said there, it's a big relationship, and you don't want to go for the cheapest builder out there. If you want to give this a crack yourself, like like give it a good go, but it'll just take twice as long and it'll just go over budget because yeah, you haven't got the connections like we have today, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it's really sort of brilliant information there, especially around the, well, just general conversations that are always had. But yeah, I guess it really just sort of goes to show that when it comes to when we are selecting a builder or selecting a wife, husband, whatever you want to look at, there's got to be that that free flow of communication and the way that you do actually communicate. So yeah, we started out talking about the hard conversations and who's going to make that phone call or who's going to have that meeting that is going to discuss that really hard sort of topic. But yeah, the where that sort of goes from and ultimately with that conversation is what's the outcome that you're actually looking for. If you're going into that with the outcome in mind,
Mm,
how much does that determine what in which way it's either received or how it's given to pass on that information as well. It's
Mm.
I think to me, I mean, I think we've heard that a number of times from the coach over the years that is that aspect of what we allow in determines what comes out and
mm,
that yeah, how we approach things is always going to determine what kind of outcome you get from that. And yeah, I couldn't thank you guys enough more at the moment because I think we all needed a little bit of a refresher on that because yeah, well, what we do is so pivotal to people's
Mm.
lives and how we approach it needs to be really on point
mm.
every single day.
100%.
So thank you very much, guys. I really appreciate your time and hope that's
Thank
been
you.
enlightening for everybody out there. So thanks, Dean. Thanks, Andy.
Thanks for tuning in to Builders Beyond Borders. If today's episode helped you feel more prepared, clearer, or more confident, share it with a mate who's planning their own build or reno. Got a question about building, renovating, or working with tradies? Send it our way. We might cover it in a future episode. And don't forget to hit follow or subscribe so you never miss the real stories, practical tips, and builder insights we've got coming your way. Everything shared on this podcast is based on our experiences and those of our guests. It's general info only. Any reliance on the information provided is done at your own risk.